I need a 30 for 30 to show that I'm different like Jordan and Pippen, you bitch. I need a 30 for 30 like Jalen and Webber. Nobody gon' fuck on my clique. I need a 30 for 30.
After 6 weeks of football, man, there are 3 undefeated teams. One of them we've talked about several times on this show because I think all of us respect the greatness of Russell Wilson. And, you know, like I said previously, we got a lot of 49er fans. Y'all had to deal with the Seahawks a lot. So we've talked about them a lot. But there are 2 other undefeated teams that seemingly are going kind of under the radar, at least in national media, and that's the Steelers and the Titans. I know we talked previously when the Texans coach got fired, and we talked about how a lot of we talked about how Bill Belichick's disciples really haven't done well. But there was one that we left out. That was Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. And last week for my shout out, I mentioned how a lot of people aren't talking about Mike Tomlin and how the Steelers are rolling. So I got a question. Again, outside of the Seahawks, we know who they are. We got a lot of folks picking them to be in the Super Bowl, if not win the Super Bowl. But in terms of the Steelers and the Titans, who do you think is more slept on? And I'll go to you first, Joe.
All right. I would have to say I'm gonna go with Steelers. I would expect the Titans to be slept on because that's not a how can I say a famous team name. They don't have that many fans. You know what I mean? But for the Steelers, who we know probably have just as many fans as the Niners and Cowboys, for them to be going under the radar is like I think that's pretty alarming because I mean the Browns is getting more TV time than the Steelers.
Am I right to say that the Steelers have been flying on the radar kind of, or am I wrong with that? Am I missing something?
No, I agree because to be honest, normally going into a season, right? Mm-hmm. Normally when you look at the North, you're gonna say, hey, Steelers, Ravens probably gonna win it. Like, no, they were talking about Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield. Nobody was talking about the Steelers. Like which is weird because the fact that they don't have the 3 killer bees in it, well, they still got one.
Yeah, they still got a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah, still got Ben sitting there. Weird. You don't have Bell anymore. You don't have Antonio Brown. But I think in one of the group chats, they was talking about it. The Steelers seem to know how to get wide receivers. Juju not necessarily making a splash like Antonio Brown, but it's like those receivers, you got to deal with them. One of them is kind of hurt right now, Johnson, and he looked like he was about to be like the truth. But like I said, the Steelers, for them to be a well-known franchise, it's amazing that they're slept on.
Okay. Clay, what you think, dog? You think which one of these teams you think most slept on, man?
I say, well, Joe made an interesting point about the fan base. But disregarding the fan base, I say it's the Titans because to me, the Titans, I think they had a little bit harder schedule than the Steelers had so far. I think the Steelers really ain't played those. Let me see. I think they played the Giants, Denver, Houston, Philly, and Cleveland. Those teams, ain't none of them scaring me on that list. Like, there's really like practice with a lot of them teams.
So would you say the Steelers are also overrated? Like
we had to see. I got to see when they play coming up. They playing them, when they play Tennessee.
You want to see them tested first?
Yeah, I got to see them two go against each other to see. I know, like, let me see. I think Tennessee, they played let me pull up their schedule.
Buffalo.
Yeah, they played Denver too. Buffalo kind of legit. Like, they ain't,
yeah.
Buffalo not no pushover. They played Houston as well. Well, I don't really want to count Minnesota. The first 3, I don't really count them. But I say they played a more formidable team so far with Buffalo. And they manhandled them boys. So it's like, all right, the Steelers, I don't think they played anybody yet to where we can see, okay, is this are they for real, or is it just that they beating up on lesser competition? So it's like like I said, with Ben, I think it was more of the Lamar Jackson factor, and like you said, like Cleveland, they got it's Odell and Baker and all that. It's like they got like the stars. You see what I'm saying? But it's more so Ben. You don't know if he's gonna really get hurt or not. You know, he just came off an injury, kind of constantly gets hurt. Juju, like Joe said, really, I mean, he a decent player, but he not doing AB type of things. He's not doing it. So it's like I think they were more so like, okay, the Steelers, they taking a blow. We see what the Ravens doing. Because in the beginning, they were really saying the Ravens finna win the Super Bowl. Like, even though Kansas City won, they were more so saying that, man, I think it was just a bad game that Lamar Jackson played. They just got outscored early and all that running couldn't work. But that team, they were saying really that, okay, it's either going to be them or the Chiefs. And I think most people, I want to say in the beginning, was leaning towards them. But
so you think they might be being overshadowed, the Steelers being overshadowed by other folks in that division, huh?
That's coming up. It was like, it was looking more so like the Steelers were kind of going down.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, other teams, I don't say the Browns, because they were just fixated. They needed to have somebody like a focus on the Browns. And that's why we even still really talking about the Browns and Odell Beckham. That's the only real reason why we really talking with the Browns. But as far as the Ravens, it was legit. You know what I'm saying? MVP. Then you had, like I said, they were steamrolling people until they played who? The same team that I'm talking about that's being slept on, like the Titans. You seen what they did in the playoffs last year. You see what they doing now. Man, that boy Derrick Henry looking like a Decepticon out there running the ball. No, you know what I'm saying? He embarrassing people.
It don't make no sense.
Like out there with that stiff arm.
And them grown men, man. These are grown, huge ass men themselves, and he make them look like babies.
You know what I'm saying? My cousin out there still doing this thing. You know what I'm saying? Then the defense, then they get clowning. So the defense, you know what I'm saying? They got a pretty okay defense too. It's like I think they more so getting slept on, like Joe said, because they just not this major market. Last time we was talking about them really with when Steve McNair was there. I want to say majorly. Yeah. Other than that, we really won. And when Will McCullough was there, when I hate when I forget people's names.
I know from Texas.
Yeah, when he was there.
Come on, we don't. Vince Young.
And Chris Johnson.
That was more of a soap opera though.
Vince Young and CJ2K.
Yeah.
Woo! Remember that boy used to get on down, didn't
he? Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? They were more so. I mean, but it wasn't really like a super big buzz. It was just like, okay, we got this running back he's killing running the ball, and then Vince more so he was coming off his old college glory. But I mean, it wasn't really no big time spark like that. And now I think it's just that they just in a smaller kind of like market, and nobody really paying attention to them. But they done beat the Ravens. They undefeated. They done beat the Bills, who a lot of people saying contenders too. So it's like I think that for the body of work that they've been doing since last year up until now, and how they winning, people really kind of sleeping on them. And so that's just my take on that.
That's interesting. A lot of interesting points. All right, so I got JoJo saying the Steelers slept on. Clay saying the Titans. Well, where you going with it, T?
Two things real quick. We'll put myself out there for a second.
Okay, talk to
we did the predictions and everything for the division.
And
I had the Colts, then the Titans. And I had the Titans strictly because I thought the Conklin departure and them not having Jarrell Casey, who I think is at Denver now, I thought those were two big losses, in my opinion. I just felt like they were missing. They were going to miss that later. I did. But I was wrong so far. I think Colts are 4-2 right now. They'll have to see them sooner or later, and we'll figure out where that falls. But the other thing, may we please bow our heads for a moment of silence for Josh Norman. We could maybe lower our headphones for 10 seconds, please.
Hey, man.
Hey, it's criminal what that man be doing to these folks out here trying to tackle him, man.
He did Earl like that too. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, yeah, I think he on that shit.
I'm going to take the Titans.
You think he on that shit?
Henry?
Man,
No.
Hey, they say that motherfucker hit over 20 miles per hour the other day running it. He not only throwing folks out the way, they saying that boy just ran over 20 miles per hour. I think they might have said 21, something like that.
I'm going to say the Titans, and I'm going to say the Titans because Derrick Henry, if y'all remember back in the draft, he wasn't supposed to be doing this. He couldn't hit the hole. He wasn't fast enough. Remember all that they said during the draft? They said he could not hit NFL.
Who the hell was this? Mel Kiper?
And make it happen. That's what they said about that.
They were saying he was gonna be the next Eddie Lacy.
Eddie Lacy, Trent Richardson.
Joe.
They were doing it.
Will you stop with the Eddie Lacy references, please?
No, he's a big back.
I've been through enough.
Listen to me. He's a big back coming from Alabama. They was comparing him to Lacy.
They were trashing it. They really were trashing it. And the Titans said, we'll make it work. And they did. They're making it work. I think the Titans are slept on, especially after the body of work they had last year. And I don't think a lot of people are really gonna put them in the forefront for a Super Bowl. And they could quite possibly win it. But now the only question I got about Tennessee is that secondary. They got to figure that out. Because Malcolm Butler does not look like Malcolm Butler. Okay? And all them other guys, man, they gave up, 36 to the Texans? I mean, they had to outscore teams. And that ain't what you think of when you think of Tennessee. You think of 17, 20. I know they shut out the Bills. Literally shut them out. They only had 16. And I think the Broncos were like 14. But they've given up 30 in certain games. I think they gave up 30. They gave up 30 to the Jags. I got it right here. They gave up 30 to the Vikings. They gave up 36 to the Texans. And I think a lot of it was in the air. They concern me a little bit in the air, but I'm
in terms of pass defense, they 17th.
Yeah. They got to figure that out. Derrick Henry can only do so much. And I will give props to Tannehill. I mean, they have a slept-on team. Tannehill's been playing well. I think a lot of people knew what A.J. Brown could do, but maybe how much, what will Tannehill do to make A.J. Brown effective? How well will Tannehill play? Tannehill's playing well. He's playing worth his money. I'm going to give him his credit. Henry, I mean, he's just Henry. They're going to have to figure that defense out, though, in my opinion. They got to figure that out. That's not going to work, man. Not if you're going to see the Chiefs in the AFC Championship again or something like that.
Now, in terms of the Titans, I want to bounce this off y'all. Do y'all think part of the reason the Titans might not be getting the love and fanfare, other than the small market, is because they playing old school?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They turned around handing that thing off to a back. Remember when we were coming up, a back could get MVP. Nowadays, you see the top 5 betting odds for MVP is always quarterback. It might be top 10 betting odds be quarterbacks for MVP. But we grew up, Emmitt Smith got an MVP. I can remember Adrian Peterson getting MVP. Marshall Faulk got an MVP, if I'm not mistaken, right? I mean, we saw running backs getting that award, and Derrick Henry carries that team. He is the offense for that team, but
it ain't exciting. Like
it ain't. Folks don't like that.
It's flashy like how the NFL and like how the media. It's the pass, and that's the more, I guess, marketable type of thing. Like the more flashy thing, the thing that get casual fans into it.
Yeah,
they like passing, they like deep passes and catches, and this and the third. But like I said, running the ball win those games. And see, it's kind of like they doing like how we did when we were winning when Alex Smith was there. It's like we didn't really have them receivers really like that. You know what I'm saying? I think Crabtree was our best person. Vernon Davis, old soft ass. Before Cam baptized him and everything, he was like our fastest receiver, even though he was a tight end. But we was just running the ball because the league turned into getting those linebackers that can cover. So we was like, okay, you're gonna have to give up something. You can't cover unless you just one of them freaks of nature. You can't cover and be stout run stopper at the same time unless you just a freak. So you're gonna have to give up something.
And this back when y'all had that hellacious defense too, ain't with Pat
Our
Willis.
defense. Now they ain't like our defense, but that running, I say that they were better than us. Like what we gave up in running and gained in defense, they got that in running, but lack in defense.
They run that ball. Yeah.
Who gonna tackle this man, bro? That's the thing. You got all smaller people because you got to cover. It's a passing league now. So who gonna come up and tackle this man, bro? No, like really nobody.
With a run game, that is defense because you keep the offense off the other team offense off the field.
Yeah, great point. Well, it'll be interesting to see.
They play. I think they next game.
Very next week.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, that's must see TV. That must see TV. You got top rusher in the league going against the leading defense. That's old school. I like that. You know what I'm saying? I like to see stuff like that. Physical football, it's gonna be something to see.
Go. Subscribe to our daddy's YouTube channel. He's the best. Hit the like button, turn on the notifications.